Hey, Jantans and Jantanites, Jason Desmond here from the Jantan Collective with a brand new edition of What's Up With That, where we question, we learn, and most importantly, we grow. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below because we love hearing from you. Maybe it might be about something that we talked about before that you have a comment on, or it might be something that you feel very strongly about and you want us to talk about it. Please do get in touch. Now, here's the thing though. The LGBTQ plus community has been in focus in Malaysia mainly for all the wrong reasons recently, from court cases, and then you read about it in the newspapers with physical abuse. And you know what? From where I stand, at least, it all really stems from a lack of understanding of this community. So why is there so much hate? And what's up with that? So today, for us to get a better understanding of this, and really, this conversation can get so deep. So we're just really trying to get to step one of this. We're speaking to members and advocates of the LGBTQ plus community. Today, we're with Saw and Ashen. Let's get to some introductions first. Ashen, as far as I know, you're from Malacca. Are you still in Malacca?
Yes, I am still in Malacca.
All right. So how old are you and what do you do and what's going on? Let's find out more.
So I'm 23 years old this year, and also I do a lot of photography, videography, and also a lot of side hustle like construction work. So basically anything doing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. And Saw, how old are you? You're from KL, right?
Yeah, I'm from KL, and I'm 27 years old this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you in construction as well, like Ashen?
No. I'm actually studying in degree.
Nice. Okay. So I think the first thing that I need to just get out of the way is because where I work, where we talk a lot about music and everything, and I introduce a lot of music on radio. But the thing is, every time it comes to something like Sam Smith, who's very particular about the pronouns that he uses, how we're supposed to refer to. I always say him, but then it's like now them and they and whatnot. Are you guys particular about pronouns like Ashen? What do you use?
So I prefer he, him pronouns. Yeah, so it's okay. And I think for you to be more safe, just call them by their name. Like for me, if you're afraid to offend anyone like me or myself, you just call them by their name. It's fine.
Oh, right? Yeah. Because the thing I think it's always what we want. We're not aiming to offend anybody. We don't know, right? So what about you?
It's just like Ashen, like to be honest, like if you want to call anyone, like you don't want to offend them, you can call by their name. But if you're not sure, like it's best pronounced as he or them.
But for you particularly?
Same goes to me, yeah.
All right. So do you
particularly if possible like he. But if like suddenly they just like she or whatever, like I don't mind.
Right. Okay. Let's get to your stories about how when did you realize that you were a transgender? Ashen?
Okay, very good question. So basically, I didn't know I was trans until the existence of trans people only when I was like 18, 19 years old, only I found out about it.
Right.
So since I was born, I only had the knowledge that I was a dude. I was a boy. So can you imagine, like, since I was small, I would just play around with boys. I would just play with Spider-Man action figures and stuff like that. Only then in kindergarten, my teacher told me like, hey, my old name, you are a girl. So why are you playing with the boys? Why are you lining up with the boys? So then I was like, wait, I'm a girl? What's the difference, So I just didn't know. Yeah.
But when your parents raised you, I mean, like, some parents, when they have boys, they have blue walls and blue this, blue that. When they have girls, everything's pink, right? How was it back when you were growing up?
For my parents, they were just like, everything was just monotone for me. It was just like everything was just yellow, I guess.
Right,
and like it's just that my sisters, they just preferred playing Barbie dolls, and I just preferred that one Spider-Man action figure that they all broke. So it's just like that lah.
Wait, how many in your family? How many siblings do you have?
I'm actually half of a twin. I have a twin sister.
Nice.
Yeah. So and I have a younger sister. So it's three of us.
Okay. So what about you? When did you realize?
I realized when I was in high school, but I was like already tomboyish when I was young, way younger, like around 10 years old. I realized that like when you have your birthday celebration and everything, right? So your relatives, everything, like, because you're a girl, so they will definitely give you like Barbie dolls or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I realized, like, I whenever I receive that Barbie doll, I'll shove it into like my cupboard. Like I don't want to see it.
Right.
And every time like my mom forces me
Was it
to
uncomfortable to
like
see it then?
yeah.
Right.
Every time like my mom forces me, it's just like not uncomfortable. It's just I don't like it. Yeah.
Right. It's just not your thing. Like it's a
So it's like
personal preference.
when young time. Yeah. It's a personal preference.
Right.
Yeah.
But the realization when it really hit for both of you, what was it that everybody has that ding ding moment that's like, hey, okay. Ashton, what was yours?
Mine was when, because I basically I knew that growing up I always liked girls, but I just didn't understand why was me liking girls a bad thing. And also
Specifically,
because
what do you mean by liking girls? I mean, you
like-
like the way they look, and
yeah, I just sexually attracted to them romantically. So like it was just weird when my friends, all girls school, they just be like, oh, One Direction and stuff like that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Why don't I like them? From then on, my friends started to get suspicious of me, and it was just like that awkward moment where I had to blend in. And when I figured out that I was trans, it was through social media. From some trans man advocate people in US. From then on, I was like, oh, okay. So finally, it just clicked. So I didn't like being called lesbian or bisexual, or dyke. I just like the trans man description just really, really fit me very well, and just felt happy. Yeah.
Okay. And Saw, did you experience the same thing?
Yes, quite similar, but because I experienced myself like during high school, right? So it's like since high school I already had short hair and everything. But the good side is that my friends are quite supportive. So it's like they will less teasing and everything. They're quite supportive and everything. Yeah.
And was it an all-girls school? Was it co-ed for both of you?
Yeah. I was all girls school too.
Yours was an all-girls school. So Ashton?
Yeah.
All girls school.
Wow. So would it have been different? You think that would the stress have been different if you had been going to a co-ed school? You think?
Because like,
Makes you
I
wonder.
think so.
Right?
Can go first. Yeah, I think it's just that maybe you're surrounded by all the girls, and back in my school, it was a Catholic all girls school, so it was
okay.
yeah. So like being a lesbian there, it was like the worst thing you can do. Like number one in the rule book was lesbian. Number two was killing people. That was how bad it was. The degree. Yeah.
What? Okay, right.
Yep. So it was just that maybe I don't know, maybe because we were surrounded by all girls, right? And I feel that most of our time we just see girls and we rarely see guys. And even in my school, if some girls had boyfriends from like about 7 minutes walk away another high school there, like the discipline teacher would just like throw you in front of like the entire assembly, make fun of you. So then back then it was just like, okay, thank God I'm gay.
Right.
Back then.
So was it the same? I mean, like all girls school. Was it hard?
all girls school, yes. Like my all girls school was like convent. So basically like half Catholic. Yeah. So it's like the same thing. So it's like once they see like a girl like decide to cut short hair, so it's like, oh, you're gonna be like you are a lesbian, you are a tomboy. So I'm gonna like every teacher will like pinpoint at you, find a mistake on you, like try to get demerits on you and everything.
Now, this because at some point, Ashton, I'm just watching this video of yours right now because you uploaded a video, which was a coming out video on YouTube about being transgender in Malaysia. This was a couple of years back. Because as far as because you keep telling me about the moment when you had a girlfriend in school, the school counselor was added and everything. But as I remember you saying, it was after high school that you really knew that you were a trans man, right? How do your family take that? I mean, when you saw the video.
Basically, when I made that video, it was before I came out to my parents.
Okay. Oh, snap. Okay.
So like I knew I had to literally tell my dad because he goes to a very, very pious Christian church.
Okay.
And in Malacca it's very small minded and they are not that accepting yet. So
Malaysia in general, I suppose. Yeah.
So like when I went went, I think it was a coffee shop. I remember this very well. So I just told my dad, like, hey, pa, I tried to come out to him 3 times already, okay? And this was the 3rd time. I just came out of the hospital from, basically, I was misdiagnosed with epilepsy, migraine epilepsy, and they gave me the wrong medication. But instead, I was supposed to be diagnosed with depression, severe depression, anxiety.
Right.
So for the entire year, I was given the wrong medication, and then I got admitted to the hospital. And basically, the doctor was like, "Oh, sorry, we gave you the wrong medication for like 1 year." Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I know we're talking about transgenderism and LGBT today, but I want to get you back for all the other hospital type of stuff chat, right? But let's just focus on this right now. So after the hospital visit, you came out and then your dad picked you up, or your mom and dad picked you up.
Yeah, basically, my dad, I just told him that, like, because he was with me in the hospital, and I keep shouting at him, like, leave me, I don't want you to see like this, I don't want you to see me like this, I just want to die, because I feel that I'm in the wrong body my entire life, and I just feel like life is not worth it,
Right.
So then I was screaming in the ER, and my dad was just like, okay, I'm moving back. So he wasn't there most of the time, and then when I came out, I couldn't walk for about 3-4 months. I was paralyzed. Then I told my dad, like, hey, pa, do you know why that happened to me? And it's finally, I think it's time for me to be honest with you. I feel like this is because of I can't accept myself, because I feel like even if I can't accept myself, I don't feel like there is a way or life will not get better because I'm trans, So then
Did he understand that?
He blamed himself, because he was in denial for many years, because he knows like my characteristics, that I like girls. He was okay with that. But when I came out to him as a trans person, he realized that he was maybe too harsh on me, on becoming like a proper girl, and like follow, like don't be too boyish and everything. So then he was like taking the blame. He was like, okay, I feel bad because so far in your entire life, I keep pressuring you to be a proper girl and everything. So I just told him, like, pa, don't feel bad. I understand from where you're coming from, in church and everything. So like from then on, he was like, okay, so what can give me some time, and I'll try to, do some studying about this, about yourself, and think about it. Yeah.
So wait, he felt bad. So your dad is a very religious man, right? But he felt bad because wasn't because that you were trans, but he felt bad because he didn't accept you, basically. All right, or accept you earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how did that make you feel? Because your depression, I suppose, was it because of your gender identity, and you knew basically, but you were still in depression, right?
Yeah, because I think it was the hardest part was to come out to myself. Even though my friends knew, and I felt comfortable being called, by he, him pronouns, handsome, and whatnot. So like when it was the hardest for me, because I knew that I need to move on, because this is my life, and I realized that even if the people around me don't support me, I still need to make a stand for myself. So that was a point where I just told my dad, and then from then on, my dad was still reluctant at first, he was still in denial. Right. But then when after that he saw like how happy I got, and like he always wanted a son. So from that on he was like, okay, you know what? I'm not losing anything, so it's fine.
Good. How do your mom feel about that?
Oh, my mom is still against it. She still did. She still calls me by my birth name, and she still refuses to like acknowledge me as a son. Yeah. But
she still sees you at Chinese New Year. You still go back and whatnot, right?
Yeah, but it's just painful because like because since the hospital she has seen me in that condition, she just assumes that I'm still sick in my head, and it's contagious and whatnot. Yeah.
And your twin?
Oh, my twin she's honestly, I can tell you, mostly everybody in my life thought that when I was admitted to hospital, they thought I was faking it.
Right.
For attention. So
even your twin. So, what about you? Any strange hospital visits with diagnosis and everything, or did you come out to your parents? It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, like my parents kind of excited by like, closing one eye, but I haven't really like really
I'm a bit
like
concerned about that closing one eye though, because it's not really acceptance; it's really denial, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. They are quite still deniable. Like they still consider me as their daughter and everything. So I was like, you know what? Parents are quite old now, so I'll just accept and make them happy and try not to make things worse. So I just
Okay.
leave it.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about your brother?
My brother accept. He
Okay.
knows that I like girls.
And has he known for forever?
Yeah, since I was like during high school.
So you say your family is very traditional, but now that they're kind of closing one eye, but they kind of know. Is it uncomfortable whenever you go home for Chinese New Year and then they notice that Chinese New Year you're not dressed in a cheongsam, obviously.
Yeah, no. Basically, because I've been like this since I was young. So back then when I was younger, like my family members, like my dad's side care less, but my mom's side. So my mom's side's like, the aunties, traditional minded and all that. So they'll be saying like, oh, you're a girl, you should wear cheongsam, you should wear a dress, you should skirt, you should look nice, pretty long hair and everything. So I was like, I would just like, acknowledge them and like, yeah, no, but like this is me. So like as I'm getting older, like I did talk to my mom, like I don't like whenever my aunts say that like to me, like I should be how I feel I want to be. Like I don't need them to tell me how to be and how to dress up. So since then, like I think my mom did talk like to her sisters and everything. So it's like since then, like they don't care, like they just ignore.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you struggle with it mentally? Because in Ashen's case, it was a bit of a struggle mentally. Did you struggle with it?
Definitely mentally, but I always like have a best friend to talk out with. So that's where I clear out my mind, like where once you talk with your best friend, everything at least it's clear up your mind. It doesn't bottles up. So that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Ashen's right. It's coming out to yourself, accepting who you are, right? And then after that, when you can do that, you basically go, you know what, fuck the world, right? I don't care what, right? Because as long as you're comfortable with yourself, though. But I completely understand because we live in an Asian culture, it's still very taboo in many cases and everything. But did you guys try to hide your transition, I suppose, at that particular point, or your gender identity?
No, I did not hide.
No. Everyone just kind of knew.
No, not for me. Yeah.
No.
My friends all knew.
Okay. And
it's quite obvious for them. Yeah.
So for mine, in Form 2, I had a girlfriend, and like for personal reasons, I won't exactly say what position she is, but she was like quite famous in school, and basically my parents found out, and they told the counselor. The counselor basically told the entire school, and yeah, basically like throughout my entire high school days, it was like I just had no friends. So
right. Hey, let's talk about family though. Do you guys come from like pretty pious and pretty religious families, or is it like what? Ashen, yes. So
traditional thinking.
Right. Okay. So what does traditional thinking mean though?
So it's like if you're a girl, you must be a girl. If you're a boy, you must be a boy.
Right.
You can't act in another different gender.
So that's a lot of pressure though. Because how do you tell your family though? Because number one, Ashen, when your parents found out that you had a girlfriend in school, and then they spoke to the counselor, was that the moment you kind of came out to them?
No.
But you had a girlfriend. You're a girl in an all-girls school. You had a girlfriend.
Well, it was still not allowed. So like because way before they found out about me in standard 5, standard 6, my twin had a very, very close best friend. And they would do everything together. Like legit, everybody thought that they were lesbians.
Right.
So one time, in standard 6, I remember my class teacher. Okay, so my twins and they were just playing, and I was just minding my own business, sleeping in class. And out of nowhere, I just hear like my class teacher just yell, her name, Abigail. Like, what are you doing? What are you and your friend doing? Are you all lesbians? Like that was the first time where I knew, like the term lesbian exists. And then like he shouted it at like as if it was like some sort of slur or like some cuss word. So like the entire class just went silent, and then like the entire, I think for 1 hour he just continued to like just nag at them, you're lesbian, you're disgusting. Right. So then from then on, I went back home. The teacher already had called my parents, and my parents gave her a hard time for not being a lesbian. I was just like, okay, I had to like, hide that part of me because there was a moment where I found out that when you like girls, when you're a girl, you like girls, you're lesbian, and that is not a normal thing.
Right.
And my parents.
But again, how old were you at that point?
Oh, that was like what? 11, 12.
Okay, right. Okay. Right.
So like, but I already knew that I like girls since like I was 5. My sexual awakening, if you could say it. Yeah.
Interesting. So, what about you? Did you have relationships in all? When you're a kid in high school, it's all puppy love anyway, right? So, did you have any?
Yes,
relations?
definitely.
Right, yeah.
I have. My first was like when I was in Form 4. So when I was in Form 4, I was actually quite famous in school because I was an athlete, a runner.
Right.
So I was quite known in school, and also whatever movement you do, like everyone knows. So that time when I have a girlfriend, like everyone knows. So when I have a girlfriend, like there is definitely people like jealous and everything, right? So that particular student, they purposely take our photos like, on Facebook back then, our photos from Facebook, and purposely give it to the what's it called, like the discipline teacher.
Yeah.
So we got caught. Yeah, we got caught. And my parents came over, I talked to them, but during that time, like my parents, like no, nothing to say. Like they didn't say anything. They just said, "Oh, you have 1 week holiday. You kena kantong."
But they didn't. That's all. So, was that for you? Was that a sign of acceptance from your parents in a way?
Sign of acceptance, but it's still like closing one eye to it. Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
Because I'm sorry.
How many siblings do you have?
Only me and my elder brother.
Oh, so it's okay, right. So at that point, close one eye and let's move on. Forget about this. It's just something silly that kids do in school. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Are you guys seeing anybody right now? Do you have partners? So no?
Oh.
You're not seeing anyone.
Zero.
Were you seeing someone?
No.
Why? Because it's just too complicated.
I just got off. It's so complicated.
So what was she? Was she trans or was she lesbian or what was she?
Lesbian.
Right.
She's lesbian, yeah. So
Okay.
does
she know that you're transitioning?
Yeah.
Did she know that you were transitioning?
Yes.
Right. So right from the
Yes,
get-go, it was fine. Was it her family that was an issue?
No. It's just personal issue.
or you got a psycho girlfriend, lah. Like everybody sometimes gets.
Sort of.
We all have had those. Trust me. Okay. Yeah. Asher, what about you? Are you seeing anyone?
Yes, I have been single for 5 years now. So
You're single now.
5 years. Yep.
Were you seeing someone before that?
Yeah. Basically, when I came out as trans as well, at the time I was trans, but I wasn't like transitioning yet. So what happened was she was crazy, man. Like so like number one, I didn't know she had a boyfriend. Okay. So like we were together and everything, whatnot. And then suddenly she was like, oh wait, I have a boyfriend. I'm like, wait, what? For how long? 3 years already. I'm like, what? 2 years boyfriend? What?
That
So it was like,
oh
nope.
god, that's just not. That had nothing to do with the community or whatever. That's just crazy kind of stuff, all right?
But because like, oh my god, because like at that point she was like, oh, I'm actually bi-curious. So from actually having a boyfriend, she took a boyfriend to be with me. She
So what?
dumped the
You were an
boyfriend,
experiment?
basically.
Fuck.
So and then from then on, she liked her classmate in college. So then she cheated on me with that classmate, and after that, from then on, she just basically like stopped talking to me most of the time. Like about 2 days once, she'll reply me, and I'll just be like, okay, actually, what's going on? And she'll be like, oh, actually, I'm busy right now, but I found out like through Skype and everything. It's just like, why do you have a hickey here? I haven't seen you in a month. I'm just like, wait, what's going on?
Saw and I just sitting here enjoying our stories basically because your life is so interesting, Saw and I are going like our lives are so boring. Right?
Wow.
Yes, girlfriend.
Right.
No, but I have way worse experience in my relationship. Man.
Oh, okay. Like was it multiple partners as well, or what? Or was it what?
Oh my god.
Don't
get me
More of
started.
So I tell
cheating.
yeah, I want
More
to
of
yeah.
cheating.
Oh really? Yeah.
More of cheating. Yes,
Oh.
drama. That's the worst. The worst is the drama.
At some point, like when you're in your 20s, right? All relationships are weird and everybody's experimenting in a strange way, right? But at some point, you will get into a pretty stable relationship. Do you guys ever wonder how that's gonna be? Do you have to explain to your partner's family what you are? Do you hope to be accepted when your own family you're not being accepted yet? You know what I mean? Do you ever worry about that, Saul?
Not much of the worry, but like if I think in the future, I mean, like if you were to explain, I think they would understand like who you are as a T, as a transgender. So I think if it depends also because like certain parents like they're open minded, so they accept. If like the more like a traditional minded, close minded, that would be tough.
But you don't care like you're gonna move to Switzerland anyway.
Yeah.
If they don't accept, no mind lah, I'm in Switzerland eating chocolate. Okay, but Ashen, do you think about that? Do you worry about having to explain to your partner's family?
At this point, because like coming out for me was really very tough, and I actually consistently almost every day I come out to new strangers as well, right? So I feel that it's great that she wants to take the risk to come out to her parents as well. And for me, it's there's no issue because like I said, I'm comfortable in my own skin with who I am today. And even if they don't accept me, it all comes down to her. If she feels that it is a big issue that her parents will accept me, then I'm sorry lah. If it's that much of an issue, then we should be together, no? Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're naked in front of the mirror, sorry, when you're naked in front of the mirror and you see yourself, what do you see? I mean, like, what are you upset with your body? Are you
not really upset, but is you just wish to have like that body, that male body,
right?
Yeah.
Ashen, you went the distance. I mean, you went for surgery and dude, seriously, you buffed up. Are you working out? Or you work out a lot?
Actually, I don't go for any surgeries at all.
Right. Okay. You didn't. Oh, you didn't do anything. No surgeries.
No surgeries.
Right. But dude, seriously though, I mean, you know, how did you do it?
Basically, working out a lot, and I realized that it's all about the macros, and you need to consider the amount of carbs you take. Because my body, I realized that if I eat too much carbs, it'll store fat on my chest. So I just did my best to adjust that, and yeah, it worked. So if I don't work out, and basically if I don't take on testosterone, right, the hormones, then basically it will start popping out again.
Right.
And,
so are you both on HRT? Are you going through really?
I was on hormones.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, so no. Ashen, yes. Okay. And how long have you been on it, Ashen?
Since 2018. So, like it's nearly 3 years. Yeah.
And when you say you're on HRT, I mean you're on hormone replacement therapy. You're on testosterone, right? Well, how do you did you see a doctor about this, or how do you buy it off the how does it work?
Oh, very good question. So there is two ways. Okay. So like in Malacca, that definitely it's not allowed to actually go to a doctor and say like, hey doctor, I want to inject some male hormones into my female body. Definitely they won't allow it. So like in places, more populated areas like in KL, in Subang, in Penang, there are doctors who you can actually go and tell them, like, first of all, you need to get a letter from a psychiatrist, psychologist, and you have to say that, okay, I'm trans, maybe for 2-3 appointments. Then after you get a letter to state that you have gender dysphoria and you are actually transgender man or woman. From then on, you actually go to see a doctor. A general DO is fine as well, and then they will actually start to actually take your blood levels and then your hormone levels from then on, and then from there they will actually adjust your dosage.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the proper like medical way. But for
Right.
me, I basically self-prescribe.
Okay.
Yeah, there is actually in KL there are a few doctors. In Sunway itself, there is one who Sunway met. Yeah, there is actually one doctor who can actually get top surgery, bottom surgery, every surgery you can actually get it there from. And for much more gender affirming LGBTQ plus affirming psychologists, you can see to get a letter. It's actually much more easier. So I have a friend there in Sunway Med. Yeah, in Sunway
Okay.
Med, a psychologist who I met at a gender conference for
Right.
transgender people.
Wait, a gender conference in Malaysia?
Yeah, last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you go for that?
No.
So I find it fascinating because in KL, right, we're so exposed to so much more, right? Yet Ashen, who's still in Malacca, right? You've been where was this conference in Malacca, or did you come to KL for it?
In KL. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
So it was like I was a panelist for the Trans Man of Malaysia,
Right.
and then I had another panelist for the trans woman of Malaysia. That one, I'm not sure that you heard of her, but she's Nisha Ayub. She is top 100 most influential. Yeah. So she was another panelist, and then we have also that psychiatrist who basically will explain what does this mean, and then how she feels about the medical line and how they have been treating trans individuals,
Right.
LGBTQ plus individuals. Yeah.
So, did you go through any surgeries?
No, not yet.
Are you planning to? Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I'm planning to.
What are you planning to do?
Yet. Top surgery.
Okay. Right. For those who don't understand what that means, what exactly is that, if you don't mind explaining?
Top surgery is because like in general girls has boobs, so top surgery is like to like flatten the chest. So that's like where we can show more of our manliness, and we will like be more comfortable, because like not every tomboy that will go to surgery. Like for us, we feel uncomfortable having like this part of chest of us, so that's why we want to operate it. Yeah, to make us feel confident, like the confidence, like when you go out. And even though you have a flat chest right now, without the surgery, but you still get the looks from everyone whenever like you go out in the shopping mall and everything. Yeah.
So in the meantime, when you're not you haven't gotten a surgery, how do you are you hiding it?
Not really, because I'm blessed that I have like quite flat chest. So yeah, like compare like to other people, like I think people like they are tomboy, quite chubby. Yeah, their chest is like you can see. So it's like whenever you see like a tomboy, but they has like a boobs. So people will be like, oh, why are you trying to portray? Why you being a tomboy, but you have boobs? You're good. Yeah.
I thought you had gone for a surgery because are you when are you planning to do it even? I mean, top and bottom.
Basically, there are actually a lot of surgeries. So like before I get into the more complicated ones, basically if you take hormones, there are some complications that you will face with your biological body. Your health risk, and then from then on, because you are injecting foreign hormones, right? That is mostly derived from animals. So from then on, because your body naturally produces it. So every gender, even though female or male, they actually do produce it. But for female, maybe lesser, right? So if you inject male hormones, basically your estrogen stops producing, right? Your body stops producing estrogen. From then on, basically your ovaries start dying.
Right.
And then if it dies, basically your intestine and everything will just fall down, and it will just be another painful thing. So then there is another surgery to take out that ovaries and just just tape everything up there so it doesn't fall, yeah.
Right. And you knew this when you started taking meds for it.
Yep.
And that did not freak you out?
No, basically in 5 years, like 3 to 5 years time, you have to get that surgery.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're completely fine with going through all that?
Yep.
Wow. Because surgeries kind of freak me out. But Saw, did you read through? Did you know all this? And are you still planning to do all that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Because ultimately it's your body, it's your decision what you want to do with it, isn't it?
I
Right.
think that it's just
Definitely.
that maybe we feel that throughout our entire lives, majority of our lives, we just feel that we were born in the wrong body. Number one, and I
Yeah.
just feel that slight that a lot of risk makes it like nothing, because we have a goal to actually achieve what type of physique we want to look like, how we actually want to perceive to others. So I feel that it's more of like we want this for ourselves. So yeah.
I just want to move on right now to um being trans, because you're going to face so much adversity from family and friends and the public in general, right? And you have been going through this already. So let's start with you on this. What does being trans mean to you even now?
Me, yeah. I think it's being comfortable of who you are, being trans.
Hmm.
So it's like, even though you go out in public and everything, like even though people look down on you, like why you girl being a boy and everything, like why do you need to be trans? So sometimes in life you can't control how people's life are.
Correct.
I think
Yeah.
so. Being as trans is like it's your own willingness to be in it. So it's like it's best like there's no judgment in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people will constantly tell you shouldn't be this. How do you deal with that? How do you feel about
Yep.
that?
How do I deal with it? I'll be like, it's my life, it's my path. So whatever consequences with it, like I go through it. Like it's not you. Yeah.
Right.
So whatever decisions made in the future, it's like all me. Yeah.
Right. Ashen?
So basically, like it's basically coming in terms to yourself and self-love. So like for me, it was difficult at first, because I grew up in an all-girls school, and then I had a lot of girlfriends. I just got comfortable with being with the girls. But then when I started transitioning, it was that like suddenly my girlfriend stopped calling me out for like some event outings and everything. It was quite a drastic like culture shock for me, because then it was okay, I gotta go out with the boys, and then it's just a different type of topic, and then you're just not used to it.
And the
And then you
boys, do
just
they accept you?
yeah, basically they do. But in Malacca it's just that weird thing where they just call you like, oh, you're transgender, how you're just like a transformer. I'm just like, what? I don't get it.
So
So
what,
it's like
you're an Autobot right now? Like what?
exactly. So it's that that transition of like from what you're comfortable with for majority of your life, and then now it's just like, okay, now you need to start accepting that, okay, I'm trans now, I'm a guy now, and I have to hang out with the guys only because like the girls don't want to hang out with me anymore, and it's just that like of course I feel that it's better in a way, because then I know that okay, maybe I lost a lot of friends when I came out,
Yeah.
and I lost a lot of family members as well, and I'm away from my family members as well. I don't live with them, and it's just that okay, now I know who actually really really cares about me, and who actually really wants me to be happy, for being myself. And I think that's the most important
When
thing,
you say
because
you don't live with them, but you're still in contact with them, right? I mean, like, how are you and your dad now?
me and my dad, we are actually very very close. I see him like every day, no problem.
Okay.
But like my mom, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tough one,
avoid.
right? So, how are you with your family? So you still stay with them?
Yeah, I still stay with them. I'm good with them, with family members, even my friends. Like they are quite supportive. I'm
But in
glad.
your case, like,
Yeah.
let's not talk about it. Let's just, let's talk about your COVID and everything. Is that so? You just don't discuss transgender issues, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Stick to the safe topics, I suppose, when you're at home, right? I suppose sometimes we all have to live in a little bit of a denial if we want to have like a happy family kind of situation, right? But it's unfortunately mentally it will take a strain on you, because I suppose there's a lot of obstacles in general just being trans here already, right?
There are actually a lot of things, and I will just name two main ones lah. Okay, so number one, it's healthcare, accessible healthcare. So the last time I can honestly tell you where I went to a clinic or hospital, it was when in 2018, 2019.
Okay.
Because number one, when I went there, I was about nearly half a month, half a year on testosterone, right? And I'm self-medicating. So so back then, I'm in Malacca, right? So I go back to a nearby clinic, and I realized that hey, I might have overdose on testosterone, and I think that I should get my blood work checked, right?
Right.
So I go to a clinic, and then because in Malaysia, number one, you can't change your gender marker.
Yep.
Okay, and then number two, it's majority very Muslim populated country, right?
Yep.
So basically, I went there, and then at first the nurse is just looking at my IC and just like my dead name Beatrice, like Beatrice, ini kau ke? Kamu macam lelaki tapi IC perempuan.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
gender
Yeah.
marker. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sorry, hormone problem. I had to keep using that phrase,
Right.
hormone
Right.
problem, to get away with anything.
Right.
So then doctor sees me, and then doctor is like a very staunch Muslim,
Right.
right? So basically, I went in, and then he was like, look at my IC, look at me, said, you're not the patient. Said, I am the patient. I just have hormone problem. That's why I come and see you, right? So then he said, okay, just tell me everything. So I explained to him, I'm self-medicating on testosterone and everything, and I feel pain whenever I inject. I think I overdose, but I'm not sure. Can I actually, I need an advice, doctor? And then from there on, he just told me like, I can't help you. It's going against my religion, okay? And you are an alien for doing this, okay? So please go back, And I was like, okay, I don't mind going back because I don't want that humiliation, So I just said, okay, fine. So I thought I'd take my IC and just make my own business and just walk away. And then he just like, nope. He just basically stopped me and called all the other doctors to come in from the other rooms and just like, look at this animal. And he just took
Wait,
basically
this happened in the Malacca hospital?
Yeah, it's a clinic. Yeah,
Right.
It's a government clinic. So then he just took a pen and he just started poking me when it hurts. And he's just poking me. It's like it's so weird. Like he's just full of acne, full of body acne, and then like he was just saying like it's just so weird. It's like an alien, And I was just like, is this really necessary, doctor?
Yeah.
And then the other doctors are just like they don't know what to say because they don't know what's going on. So they were just like confused. And so the doctor is very simple. I just come here, and if you can't help me, I just need a blood work work done.
Right.
So the doctor said, I'm sorry, I cannot help you.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, so that just basically it was humiliating lah. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is basically it's very difficult for trans people to actually get a job. To even go through interviews is just another thing.
Because you have to tick a box, right?
Yeah,
and it's
female or male, and then it's just like weird because like they'll be like, but actually number is like 5050. So like why are you like you're not a girl, So and then on is even it's it's literally impossible to even go for job interviews.
So how
because
how,
of
how do you do that? Are you
freelance basically?
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Saw, is that the same situation for you?
For the job, yes, but because previously I go for internship, so I had this similar situation whereby when I require for the internship, and because I have a connection for the internship, so once I require for the internship and they accept, once they accept, they need to email like a profile. So it's like I send my picture of my profile. They be like, oh, the HR, one of the HR was like, can I have your more feminine picture? I was like, I don't have anyone's feminine picture. You're like, this is me.
Yeah.
What do you mean by more feminine picture?
Right.
Then I was like, okay, never mind. I just sent another like more polite, very polite kind, like close to passport photo. So it's like, okay, and then end up he didn't use any one of it. It's just that the first day where I went in for intern and he just snapped a picture of it.
I don't get what the picture has to do with anything, really, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just very, very strange to me. But a lot of people might ask, right? Like, wouldn't it be easier, right, if you went into a job interview, or if you just for the sake of fitting into boxes? This happens to a lot of people I've been speaking to, because we've been planning to have this chat and talking about bringing this up. A lot of people I speak to, they say, isn't it just easier if they just accept how it is here? If you're born a certain way, just tick that box. did you ever think that way where it's like, I know what I am, but it's just easier for me to just tick that box that says female or whatever it is, because I don't want to deal with the problems, the administrative problems. Do you ever think that?
Every day.
Yeah.
But that's a conflict already, isn't it? Because you go like, number one, I'm trying to be true to myself, and then here I am, because again, like it's a little bit of denial in the sense that you're not going to be able to change the system. You want to change the system, but the system, that's just how it is. Should I take female? Should I take female, or should I just create a new box?
So basically that happened to me a lot of times. So like sometimes I go for some new job and then they'll be like, oh, okay, so like interview, we thought like your first day, like my co-workers would just tell me like, oh, we thought that you were a dude, literally, until like the other people start talking about me that I'm a woman, and they're like, wait, what? No, like he's legit a guy. He's strong, he can lift a lot of boxes, but you're telling me he's a girl, but I'm just like, dude, why can't just because I was born with a vagina, I can't carry heavy things.
Right, yeah.
So like that's like the funniest thing, because like other people, they get confused about gender identity, sexuality, and also about like what are you biologically born with. So like imagine this, a lot of people, you don't actually have this type of scenario to actually think about it. But imagine when you wake up one day and you just know that, oh, I look at a girl, like, oh, okay, I find that girl's cute. I like the girl. I like looking at that girl. But you see a guy, you're just like, wait, no, I don't like looking at guys.
Or one day you just wake up the night before you slept, and then you were, let's just say you were a girl. Let's just say you wake up and you're in a man's body, right? So do you feel strange? Or the night before knew you were a boy, you knew you were a man, and then you woke up in a woman's body, how would you feel? That's basically how it is, isn't it?
Basically.
Right. You feel like this is not your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you want, when you go for job interviews, do you feel like you need to explain a lot?
A lot. They'll just be like, oh, I see female, but here male.
Dude, seriously, what jobs have you been applying for though? Because there are some companies, I'm pretty sure, especially when it comes to international, more open-minded companies, I suppose, they might not ask. I don't know, right? But do you ever wonder, maybe I'm applying for the wrong places and I should think differently, and
basically, like, I applied to all of the jobs in a shopping mall, so it can be any position, all of them, like from basically just like a storekeeper or like a stockist and everything. Oh, I still won't get accepted just because like they will ask, leave a phone number, and then sometimes like, oh, this and everything, oh, go for the interview, but then they just like, wait, your IC here is perempuan but lelaki. So I'm just like, oh, hormone problem.
How do you change people's minds about this? Because is Malaysia as a community, right? Not a country, not a government or whatever it is, as a community, how do you make them change their minds about this? And do you think they're ready for it?
I think younger generation
open to you guys. I saw, yeah.
I think for younger generation is open for it because they are much more open-minded, and once like because they are younger than us, so like once they are born, like, okay, this is the real world, like Gen Z now, like this is the real world with technology world and everything, right? So this is how they're living it, unlike our parents, like traditional back those days, like there is, but it's not popular, it's not in front of their eye. Like now it's everywhere in front of their eye. So that's why like younger generations are more open-minded. So for us to be in a community, to explain to them like how transgender or binary works, like it'll be much easier because they accept and they understand it with open mind. Yeah.
Ashen?
So JD, basically it's quite surprising for me that when I came out as well, because I passed very well before I even started hormones, right? And even before I went by the term transgender and him pronouns, basically it's just very simple. Number one, like I feel that these people who are basically telling like, oh, transgender LGBTQ plus people, they should die, they should rot in hell, they should burn in hell. Basically, number one, imagine like if you have a younger sister or a very, very close friend, and then you're saying all these mean things in your group of family or friends, and they just don't feel comfortable with it. So like it comes down to number one, if you know somebody in your family is like this, and you imagine that you said all those mean things in the past, that prevents them from feeling that you are a safe space for them to actually be themselves, to be who they are. So I feel that is the most important thing, because like I meet a lot of new people every day, and a lot of these people, they don't actually look at my gender as like, oh, it's a big thing, or like it's an issue, like you can't, it's haram or anything. No, they don't do that, because like at the end of the day, if I'm nice and I come up to you that, oh, actually I was born girl and now I'm a man, they're like, oh, wait, what? Really? Oh, that's cool. They're the first person I actually meet. So like I know from back then they were homophobic or transphobic, but if they actually meet somebody in their life who is from that community, from my community, then they'll actually be like, oh, actually it's not that bad, So that realization, like that reality hits them, and they're like, oh,
but it's getting them to realize that that's a problem, right? Because a lot of this also stems from the fact that families, let's say a kid who's transgender explains to the parents, and then the parents accept. Let's just say, right, completely accepts. Explaining that to the parents' siblings, or maybe the grandparents and everything, that's another issue, because that parent might be completely accepting of it, but then trying to tell his family is like, I have to explain, do I have to go through this all the time and whatnot? So it's a pressure for them as well. But that also means that at some point, generationally, do you think it will be better accepted, or do you think it's ever going to be accepted in our culture?
So like in Selangor recently, the Sharia law and the federal court, basically they had somebody actually ruled out, challenged the court, Sharia law and also the constitutional law.
Right.
And basically in Selangor right now, gender-based criticism and any violence or anything is basically ruled out as not applicable, because like in constitutional law, being gay or being trans is not an issue, but the only issue is Sharia law. So I feel that it will take some time, because now Selangor is already ruled out, all this Sharia law and everything, because it has nothing to do with each other, religion is religion, law is law. So I feel that it will slowly then open up. It just takes time and much more awareness and like how would I say, if more people from these communities that don't know that we exist, and just suddenly we just go out and just like help them and everything, all that, from then on, you just like, wait, you're trans, or you're gay, wait, what? I always thought that you guys were like monsters, and like
so you're saying the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, basically.
No. Okay. I think right now what we're really trying to do in this conversation is, for someone who is transitioning or is confused about their gender, we're trying to help them understand themselves, right? I'm not here to promote it or discourage it. I just want the information out there. If someone is confused about a gender, how do you come out? What's the right way to come out, you think?
I think the best way is actually...
Let's focus on in Malaysia, because you know how Malaysia is, right? We're a bit more conservative. How do you come out properly in Malaysia?
I think the best way is if you have like a group of friends that is like a same mind, same thinking, or like a same experience, like you're going through, like you're confused of your sexual or your gender. So if you are confused and you just want to reach out, like if you have the same group, because like for my experience is like I have a friend that is same like me, but she's not transgender yet. She's just like a lesbian. So how do I, like, how I open up is that I confront her, I talk to her, like, why am I feeling this way? Like, why are you feeling so different and everything? So once you are like, you confirm your feelings, your emotion, everything, like, why are you feeling that way? Or how is it you feeling? And everything, like, are you a part of the LGBTQ? Like, how, like, why you feeling everything. And I mean, at the end of the day, if like you get that support, or like you can get the idea of like why you feeling that way, that particular way, you're not feeling like normal, like just in general, male being male, female
Yep,
being
yep.
female. So if you have that support, and or you can go online, search in Google and everything. I mean, Google has everything.
So, has anyone ever come up to you because they know that you're transgender, right? Do they ever come up to you because they're a bit confused about their gender, and then after having a chat with them, you go, I don't think you're transgendered. I don't think you're
Yeah.
lesbian. I think you're just experimenting. Have you ever had one of those moments?
Yes.
What do you tell them?
Like, I had a few. Like, firstly, I'll ask like, how do you feel like when you particularly meet a certain gender? Like, do you have more feelings on male? Do you have more feelings on female? Or like your characteristic as an individual? So do you feel like very tomboyish, or how, or like you being feminine? Like, how do you feel in general? Like being in yourself, and like how do you see people?
Mm.
So with that only, like I would tell them, or maybe you're just curious
Yeah.
of how being together with a girl, something like that. Yeah.
Ashen,
But that doesn't define you like a lesbian.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Ashen, you've been uh, quite the activist, and you're very knowledgeable about the community. You've seen the right things to do, the wrong things to do. Is there a wrong way to come out?
I won't say there is. Oh, very, very deep question. I won't say there is like, there is no one right way to come out, because there are many circumstances. There is basically like for thankfully, being Chinese, right? Unfortunately as well, being Chinese, is that I don't get as much backlash compared to my Muslim brothers and sisters out there. So I think that's one good thing. So number one, you need to make sure that your surrounding is safe as well, the circumstances as well. So number one. Number two, you need to be able to come out to yourself first. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Because like if you come out to other people and you're not convinced yourself that you are who you say you are, then if people tell you, or they reject you, or they basically say like, oh, I don't accept you for who you are, you're gonna feel that pain. And that pain will basically like, you will start to doubt yourself again. Or am I really the problem here? Because that's what I used to feel as well. Because when I came out through that video, that YouTube video that you just watched, right? Like I had a lot of my own best friends actually told me that, shouted at me in front of the entire group, say like, I don't accept you for who you are. I know in 10 years time you're gonna get married and you have 10 children, and then you'll be so happy to your very own husband. I'm just like, wait, what? So like for that on, I was just like, you know what, screw it, whatever she wants to think about it, she thinks about it. But for me, I know the fact that I am who I am today, and she can't tell me who I am, because she has no idea how it feels like.
Do you feel like sometimes these people, right, they think it's a choice for you? Like for you, I'm like, I want to be this, I'll become this, but actually it's not a choice. You just are, right?
It's basically for me, since I was born, my first instinct was, oh, I feel like a guy, or I feel like a boy. I want to play boy things, I'm boy. That was my, basically a lot of people, they get confused about gender. Your gender is not just about what's down there.
Right.
That's what you have, your sexual, basically your genitalia, right? But then for up here is my gender identity since I was born is literally male, boy, boy.
Right.
And then who I like is my sexuality, is what I feel down here, my heart, right?
Right.
So people always get these things confused, like, oh, but you are a boy because you have a dick or anything. But I'm just like, no, I am a boy because I know that I'm a boy, because I have always remembered and I always know that I am a boy. So people always get confused about that. So from then on, I would say that there is no right way. Like I said, there's no right way. Number one, to come out. There's no like perfect way.
If you don't mind me asking, right, I just want to cover some bases, talking about fear of the unknown, because most people, they've probably never have ever been in contact with someone from the LGBT community. So I want to get you in on this. When you go buy clothes, right? Do you like changing rooms is completely fine, right? But if there are
Mhm.
male changing rooms and female changing rooms, which one do you use?
Both. I'll just go whatever that's near me.
What about restrooms?
Restrooms. I have a lot of experience on this, like
Yeah.
restrooms especially. It's like every transgender you ask, they will definitely have this experience. Like once you go in the washroom, they'll be like, "Are you a guy or girl?" Like, are they or for example, like if you are in the washroom and the person behind you is a lady, and once you walk into the female washroom, they'll be like, they stop at the entrance, like literally at the entrance, they'll be like, okay, I'm in the right washroom.
Right, yeah.
And then they went in. Yeah, and I had the worst experience in washroom that was in overseas. I was a family vacation in Italy. So basically you tour around, right? So we just casually wanted to go washroom. So the nearest was the McDonald's. So there's only one cubicle for female and male. So male was the other side and female is this side. So I was queuing with my mom and my aunt. So I was in front and my mom and my aunt. So there's this lady right behind there. She shouted. She was like, "Oi, this is like a ladies' toilet. Why are you here, man? Men's that side."
Right.
And at that moment, like my mom said back to that lady was like, "This is my daughter."
Right.
I got no words to say.
What did that lady say? Was she
Yeah.
local?
Yeah, she was local.
Right. Okay. And then you were fine, but that was overseas. Locally here, have you had issues?
It's just the looks they gave.
Right.
I haven't been called out yet, but just the looks they like. It's either they just check like, did they go to the wrong toilet, or am I really a girl or boy that
Right.
walks into the wrong toilet?
Because I'm just thinking, because number one, you're a trans man. I mean, you've transitioned from female to male, right? Or you're still in the transition process, right? I'm just trying to figure out how is it tougher also if you're transitioning from a man to a woman, because the transition is even more apparent in many cases, right? Because you probably want to have long hair, your makeup and whatnot, right? And then which one do you use then, right? Because culturally, that's just how it is everywhere else. Like I've been to Europe where they have like unisex toilets. Everybody just uses it in general, right? But Ashen, do you have those moments where you go, which one do I use?
Basically, I've been using the male's restroom for about 5 years now. No issue whatsoever. Because guys usually they don't really care, right? Just like, okay, I'm just going in, pee and come out. That's all. But like there was this one time where I had no choice but to go to the hospital to actually get a UTI check. You know, just to check. And then because I just came out from the gynecologist, right? From the female doctor, and I was like, okay, it's too obvious for me to come out from here and to enter a male washroom. Right. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make my own business and just like, you know, walk into a female's restroom for the first time in like 2-3 years. So okay, I just walk in. I think like there was a lady and an auntie was just like, "Hey, apa kau buat ni?" You know, just like, "What are you doing here?" Like, this is a woman's washroom. Then I was like, nak check saya punya IC. Kalau IC tak cukup, I give her my IC. IC tak cukup, nak ni titik, nak rasa, nak say, you want me to put on my pants, got vagina, you want me to show. You know, because that's the only way for me to convince her, because I was really so fed up at the stage, and it was just embarrassing, you know. Because like I just had to walk into the bathroom with this container and it was like, oh, just get it over with fast, you know.
But in a way, do you sometimes feel for them also where you go, they must be confused because what they see through their eyes, it's a dude. Yet you're in a female's toilet. So they have to ask, because do you ever wonder maybe it's the concern about safety? What's a man doing in a female's toilet? Do you ever put yourself in their shoes and go, I see where they're coming from? Do you ever wonder?
Yeah, basically, I do put myself in their shoes and I just like, okay. Because at the end, they're like, oh, okay, sorry. I'm like, no, sorry lah. Actually, hormone problem.
Right.
So I'll just tell them that, and then like, they will just realize that, oh, okay, so actually, I understand that, you know, because I do sometimes, like, if my friend passes out the toilet in the club, the women's toilet in the tub, and I just have to show my IC, like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm a female and I need to save my friend in the toilet,
Right.
and I can honestly understand that it comes from that safety. Maybe somebody is in a toilet who they know, or from their own safety as well, in case like anything bad happens.
Yeah.
Because not everyone is good or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have gay friends, right? And I sometimes feel for them. Then some of my gay friends go, why are some of these people from the LGBT community so loud? They want to get their equal rights and everything, let everybody know that they're gay. I know what I am. I don't need to tell the world about it. But do you think it's important to bring awareness to the general population that yes, there is a community, it is a LGBTQ plus whatever it is community, right? Actually, you know what? Before we actually move on, do you guys think that there's just too many different categories?
I think there's a lot of labels.
But already we're talking about, you know what? We're trying to get away from boxes. We're trying to get away from labels. Yet more labels are being put on. So from the other side of the spectrum, where people who are male, they stick to being male. There are women, there are people who are female, they stick to being female. They're confused about it. So is this making them even more confused?
I can understand.
It is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So how, just from that, you're making people, a lot of the people in the general population go, you know what? It's so confusing. I'd rather not know. When you're trying to educate them, and then you're making people even more confused. How do you bring awareness to the LGBTQ plus community?
Oof.
You get where I'm coming from, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm male. I have female friends. I have gay friends. I have friends who are trans and as well, and I feel for them. But the thing is, and I know this already, and I've accepted them. It's not even a question. They're just friends of mine. I don't care what gender they are, whatever. But even I get confused, So is that a big hurdle to get across? What needs to be done?
There's a lot to be done because it's like everything. If you're gonna go step by step, it has to be very detailed. That's the thing.
So what do you think is the first step then, Saw?
I think first step is to acknowledge like who we are as a human being, like the acceptance, like male being male, female being female, like LGBTQ being the LGBTQ, the acceptance. Right. Yes.
Ashen?
I think that it's very interesting because I understand how you feel as well, because as a transgender person, right, I do realize that when I came out as a trans man, everybody put me into that box of like, okay, so you're actually leaning more towards being a man. So you have to be more masculine, you have to be more this. So it all comes down to that stereotype, and I just hated that the fact that I came out as a trans man as well, because I just want to be myself.
Correct.
I don't like that marker on top of me, It's like, oh, I'm a trans man and I can do it, so I have to be 100% dude. I can't be feminine, or I can't be weak in front of girls. It's just like, I understand it's kind of like confusing at the same time, because that was what I went through, that trauma of like, hey, you're not being a real man, so man up, Right. I'm just like, wait, what? I to give me time, I need to adjust, At the same time, I understand because like a lot of these labels tend to be very confusing, and at the same time, it makes people get very fed up and just like give up, and I don't want to know anymore, And I just realized that it's all this comes down to acceptance, and number one, acceptance, number two, just like understanding where we're coming from, and just be able to both parties, or all the parties, to actually put themselves in each other's shoes. I understand that it's difficult for the LGBTQ plus community, and like it's definitely slowly taking a step at a time, but definitely it's for me as well. I've been in this community for like what my entire life. I still cannot even remember like the plus, a lot extra as well. So yeah.
But there are those who have been oppressed for so long from the LGBT community, where someone asks them, so what are you really? Because people generally don't know how to freaking ask questions correctly anyway, right? They don't have a proper gentle way of asking questions. Hey, so what are you? That's just a very Malaysian thing anyway, right? So what are you? they probably genuinely want to know. They're just assholes for not knowing how to ask. How do you feel about that?
I just feel that number one, maybe like honestly, this might shock everybody. Maybe it's not shocking as well. But even in the LGBTQ plus community, there are like groups that actually advocate for LGB community only because they are against trans people. You know, there are like so it's just like a clash of like politics and then like transphobia as well within the own community, and there are people who are against the LGBTQ plus community can be also against bisexual people. So like it's all like a stereotype because like honestly, if you want to get everybody along, it's just I don't know why, but it's so difficult to get along.
Wait. Okay. So let's backtrack slightly, okay? Because this is getting even more interesting. So wait, are you telling me? So I want your thoughts on this, right? Because number one, Ashen's been in this LGBTQ community for a while. You're an activist and everything, but you're having issues dealing with your own family on this, right? That's already one problem, and you're definitely a T in the LGBTQ community. But now Ashen's saying the L's don't necessarily get along with the B's, and the B's don't necessarily get along with the G's, and the T's sometimes get ostracized by the entire community, and then the plus are going, hey, we're plus. So within the community, there's a distrust or there's a hate amongst each other. What the fuck's going on?
Toxic lah, basically.
So how are you gonna get how are you gonna move this community along if internally you guys are just fighting amongst yourselves?
Yeah, but I think although it's like political, although there is hate between each other, but it's not like 100% hate. There is still like togetherness. Yeah, it's just like certain individuals on hating each other, like gays are not comfortable with lesbians and lesbians not comfortable with transgender and everything. Right. Yeah, it's just like the individuals of the hatred thing. But if you see in overall, like in the whole country in Malaysia, like everyone in the community is fighting for the rights for LGBT. But that's the way you can see the togetherness, like 70% of it. Yeah.
Okay. So basically what we're saying is, yes, we're fighting amongst each other, but if an outsider were to criticize, let's say a lesbian was being criticized by someone from the outside, a trans person will back that lesbian, or you know what I mean, right?
Yep.
It's like, I don't get along with my brother in my family. I argue with him all the freaking time, but somebody else says, hey, your brother's an asshole. Okay, fuck you. Okay? Nobody can say anything about my brother except me. Is that what it is? Is that basically what it is?
Yep.
Okay, I get it. But generally though, do the groups not get along? The gays,
but I think
along with the bisexuals.
I think it comes down to their own personal beliefs lah. Because so far I've seen on Twitter, oh my god, in the US especially, it's just like there are movements that literally like LGBT the community, and then they literally just leave out the T because they are against it in the US. But in Malaysia so far I see that it's fine. But personally, from my own experience, my own gay, bisexual and lesbian friends, they just don't accept me. So yep.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
I guess it's like
sad.
Like, you know what? Football is better than hockey, whatever it is. But internally, I'm a Man United fan. You're a Liverpool fan. It's a horrible way to explain it, but basically, it's just internally there are some factions who just don't get along. I'm guessing, right? So I guess you could say, from what I see, this community is getting louder. I suppose you're trying to get more people to accept the community as a whole already. Yes, there are internal problems or whatever, but in Malaysia, if someone wants to know more about the community, where can we go? Because there's a lot of misinformation going on all over the place. Where do we go to find out more? Do we just call up Nisha, Ayub, and find out, hey, we want to know more? Or is there a website that we can go to?
So you take this, or you want me to take this?
Anybody saw? Yeah.
You go ahead first.
Okay, so shout out to basically there are a few basically accounts that I literally find that they are the most resourceful. Number one is Blueho. People like us hang out. That's basically my number one go-to for anything gay related or the LGBTQ plus related. Okay, and basically it's actually quite. I think they got an award for activism in the US as well. So number one, Blueho. Number two,
How do you say?
it's PLUHO. People like us hang out.
Blueho.com? Is it like just a website?
It's Facebook
All right,
as well.
okay.
Got
All
yeah, and then second one there is also Queer Lapis.
Queer Lapis.
Yep.
Fuck, I love that. Okay.
Like Queer Lapis, but
Right,
Queer
right.
Lapis.
Right.
Yeah, so Queer Lapis there is social media for them as well. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, and then there's that they have their own website as well. And also that is more towards the general LGBTQ plus as well. And that for directly about transgender, I would suggest the Seed Foundation, SEED Foundation. Basically,
Okay.
it's actually a homeless shelter in KL itself, founded by Nisha Ayub, and basically it's for sex workers and everything. Basically, as a shelter, and also for trans women in general. Yeah. So these three, basically, I can basically say that they are the most reliable sources for anything related to sexual or even LGBTQ plus related. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So, is there one person in the LGBTQ community that you look up to?
I can't think right now.
Do you feel
Yeah.
alone in this, or is there someone that
One
sometimes?
person. I think I
Like, okay, in a
Name.
horrible way, I'm just gonna put this out at you, lah. When you saw Keeping Up with the Kardashians and you saw the transition, right, of what's it?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think? Was that pushing the community forward, or did you think like, oh shit, this is all about publicity, this is going the wrong way, this is not how we want to be perceived?
publicity. Just
Right?
because she's famous. Yeah.
Was it a good thing though? Did you think it was good for the community, or did you think it was just going in reverse?
No, I don't think it's a good thing. But
Right.
because if you take this committee for publicity wise, it's definitely not a good thing.
Ashton, what do you think? Well, who do you
About
look up to? Because you
Caitlyn?
talked about a little bit about Nisha Ayub, but when you saw that, did you go, fuck, we're trying so hard to get this this positive vibe going, and then this moron does this, and then it's all about publicity.
Basically, like Caitlyn Jenner, from all the interviews that I watched, because I was really curious. I was like, is she really trans? You know, because I know the family history and everything, right? So from like a lot of interviews where I see her on Ellen DeGeneres show, and then she's like, you know, her previous gender, married to the wife, right? And then she just went on Ellen, and Ellen was like, "So you're a lesbian?" And then she was just like, "No, I'm not a lesbian. That's disgusting." I'm just like, "Wait, what? I don't get it."
You see, that's what makes people confused. You know,
Exactly.
already we really want to understand.
Oh my god! And then
And
like
the Ellen thing
oh.
was perfect because Ellen is full on. She's all about. I know there's a lot of things going on with Ellen DeGeneres right now about workplace and whatever the shit, right? But the thing is, when it comes to the gay rights and everything, she is very loud and very outspoken and very forthright about things, right? And I respect her for that, right? What the workplace stuff, I don't know what the hell's going on, right? But the thing is, when she asks, is like, are you lesbian? What are you? And then Caitlyn Jenner's going, like what you said, no, I'm not, right? Everybody gets confused. Even LGBTQ community gets confused, right?
I was so curious, like, wait, so do you love your wife? Do you not love your wife? So then, like, I don't get it. So I was like, so what is this stunt all about? You know, because like, I saw so many, like, basically, I can say that Caitlyn Jenner kind of took advantage of it, lah. Because like I saw a lot, because she was a previous Olympian, right? Was a legend, lah, basically. And then it, like, for her to transition, and then for of course I understand she got stripped off from medals and stuff like that. But then and then I heard about something that she competed, something like that again with her new gender and whatnot. And for me, I'm all about, like, of course, if I'm a trans, because I used to be a national fencer as well. So like, I understand, like, for me, I am not allowed to even legally be participating in the women's category anymore because
Right.
I'm on hormones, right? But for her, it's like she's it's just so complicated because when I watch interviews of her, I'm just
Correct.
like, stop making me more confused.
Correct. You're already
Oh my God.
you're already trying to figure yourself out already, right? And you know what? Actually, that's a good point about the sports one. Again, we need to talk a little bit more about this in another time because there's just so much I want to find out, right? Because in sports, there's some things you can do, you cannot do. Are you really a woman? Are you really a man? Like there's this runner, Cassius Semenya, running for women, and then weightlifting. There's been a controversy recently. We're gonna get to that in another discussion. But right now, I'm just trying to figure out the community itself, right? And you touched on something just now about your chat with a friend about kids. Let's ask Saw first. Saw, do you ever think about that? How you're in your 20s right now, right? But at some point, do you ever go like, I want to have a family? Do you ever think about having a family?
Not yet.
Right.
No, I don't have that thought of like to have a family. But if I would to have a family, it's either through the procedure or adopt. Yeah.
Right. So you want to have kids, right? Do you like kids? I mean,
Maybe just one.
Generally, all right. So you want, right? Right. I mean, if you have a partner who wants kids, right? You're gonna go that
Yeah.
route, right? But Ashton, what about you? Do you ever think about having kids?
Very good question. So, like, basically, for there are a few scenarios where basically I thought about it
I
because,
love
like,
Ashton. Ashton was like, I got this. Okay, right. So yeah, okay. Right.
so like of course, like, health wise speaking, because I'm on testosterone, right? So
Correct, yeah.
basically, it stops my ovaries from being my basically everything
Yeah.
lah. My female
Yeah.
productive system is basically like, nope, close shop already,
Yeah.
close shop already. Okay.
At this
so,
point, you will never have maternal instincts, basically, right? You're thinking, right?
basically, like, for me, it's impossible for me to get pregnant. But maybe in the future, I would definitely adopt because, like, I feel like even for my own family, it's just tough for me to actually have that connection, or even having, of course, biological babies is good, but I feel that there are a lot of children out there who need a home.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I would prefer adopting.
Is it hard though to do it here? Have you guys been checking? I don't know, right? Legally, is that a nightmare for LGBT couples to even adopt?
Yep, I did a bit of research, and number one, I
Of course you
think,
did. Because, yeah. Right.
contemplating it like thoughts, so like,
Right.
it's just like, because number one, I think I did research recently. It's like basically you need to be married, and like
correct.
it's just a very, very long procedure, and then you need the parents, the guardian, or whoever to actually give you the permission to actually adopt as well. And then, like, because I have brothers as well, my own god brother as well, is also adopted a few children, and I realized that it is not easy, even for married couples,
Yeah.
married
Yeah.
hetero couples. So,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, okay, so actually it is
Really,
quite
there's just
difficult.
so much to go through, right?
Yep.
Okay. So knowing what you know now, and after hearing what Ashen has to say about all this, because it's like a wealth of information, right? For you,
Yeah.
so do you ever think, you know what? If I want to continue doing what I do, living my life as a trans man, I need to leave the country. Do you ever think that?
I thought of it. Yeah.
Where would you
Like
go?
it runs through in my mind. Probably Canada
Right.
or Switzerland. Yeah, that's like the best place. Yes. Because there they accept you and they're open in on LGBT, and they accept marriage and everything, or everything's legal there.
Ashton, what about you?
Basically,
the
when,
Malacca all the way. I will never be foul from a chicken rice bowl.
no, I cannot live without spiciness. I cannot live without nasi lemak, definitely. But like,
Yeah.
so, but basically, like, I'm still 50-50, because ever since, like, the main sole reason for me is setting my Instagram, my Facebook, everything, all is just to become an activist, to become that person. Like, let's say if a child were to like, okay, I feel sexually confused, and I feel that everybody tells me that what I'm feeling is wrong. So whenever they find out, like, transgender in Malaysia, like the hashtag, and I just pop out. So I just want to be that source of like, hey, actually there is somebody like me who is older, so I do have a future.
Right.
So that's where I want to be. At the same time, again, I do know that in Malaysia, in Melaka itself, because Nisha Ayub is actually from Melaka as well, right? And she was arrested in Melaka as well for cross-dressing, right? So
Right.
like, it is really tough for me to be in Melaka, but I think in KL it's much more open there. It's much more, they don't really care as much as in Melaka, but like, definitely it's 50-50 lah. Half heart is like just introduce for my resident, and half heart is just like, I just stay here and try and make things better.
Right. Do you think it's harder to be a trans woman though? I mean, here, because it's
Trans
so
woman,
obvious.
it's very, very,
So
it's much
obvious,
more
right?
harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much more obvious.
Yeah. Because every time I think of transgender rights, or I mean, like, or the LGBTQ community, I think of Nisha Ayub, and then of all the work that she's doing, because she's trying to break the mindset that, oh, if you are a transgender woman, you're definitely going to be in the sex industry. No, I've got I've got so many friends who are trans women who are doing other kinds of work as well, right? Professional work, corporate work. But now the team here, they just put this in, and I'm fascinated by this because apparently Bangladesh TV hired the country's first transgender news anchor. That is freaking awesome. I think that's great. What do you think about that? Do you think we'll ever see that here in Malaysia, Saw? If you saw that on TV, what would you
I
think?
hope.
Like, what? That's wicked awesome.
Oh,
Is that how you feel?
Yes, that's like a victory, man.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you, Ashen?
Oh, okay. So
Do you think will happen?
I feel that it will happen, but at the same time, before our election, right? I think one of the politicians actually hired a trans woman. From what the articles always say, like trans woman as
Yeah.
a politician, running for politician, everything. It used to be like a very, very big issue. Just for being the running candidate's helper. And I was just like, what's the issue? Like, I don't get it.
Right.
But hopefully soon, because like, I realized that in a lot of countries, like in India itself, there are a lot of trans individuals who are like idolized there.
Right.
In India, like one trans woman is actually like, basically like I idolize her like a god, a goddess. So I'm just like, whoa, if India is actually so accepting of that, then hopefully in Malaysia it comes to even this half of it. I'm happy enough, because it comes down to just being able to understand, and I feel that enough is that itself is just enough lah.
Yeah.
It's a good progress, slow.
Step by step, lah, I suppose. You know what, guys? That's just so much. I could go on for another hour. Could keep talking, right? But there's just so much that we need to talk about. I'm so happy that we got to have this conversation, because number one, it's just it wasn't anything about rights and whatever. It's just getting to know each other and know what it feels like to be you, right? So we will have more conversations. We will get in touch again. We will be. Let's just hang out one of these days and talk more. Right, because number one, I want to find out all about the psycho girlfriends also. But I just want to thank you for being so open and just doing this with us. So, Saw Ashen, thanks for joining us.
No problem, man. Anytime.
Thank you.
And you know what? We really could talk to the cows come home about this, because there's just so much to know about this amazing community, the LGBTQ plus community, and really. If you have any questions about it, please do get in touch. Or even better, if you have a personal experience, we would like to hear from you and find out more, really. But for all of us, really, I think all we can really be doing is just be nicer to each other. And most importantly, also, don't be a dick.